You and I in Christ live in the eye that sees. We are beholding through his sight the living one who he is. And therefore, purpose is always communicated to us through his sight. Therefore, a conquering of all situations in my life is found through his sight and through his hearing. Faith. Faith is a gaze. Faith is a hearing. Faith is he himself. Let's go to Galatians. A lot of familiar verses. Let them become reality to us today. Let them become reality to us today. No longer parenting parent trying to peek from the outside in. We are now in him. He in us. Speak it forever. Live it forever. For you see, Galatians 2:20, I have been crucified with Christ. Is this reality to you? Do you identify with the cross of Christ, or do you run away from the cross of Christ? Are you ashamed with that identification? Because then there is an issue. Then you can't identify with his life. Unless you pick up your cross, you cannot be his disciples. I've been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live. It is no longer your carnal self that has a right to live. Your carnal self is submitted to the cross of Christ. And these messages are lived out daily. 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 It is not an attaining with an intellect. It is really a beholding of with the eyes of faith. It is a beholding of the only true King. The only one who sees me and you, and I through him see. No longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. Christ lives in me. Christ lives in you, the hope of glory. This is the mystery of faith. Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live, this life that I now live, it's not my life. This life I live in the flesh, I live by faith. By faith. Through this gaze of faith, through the hearing of faith, to only see the one who lives. In the Son of God who loved me, that means I behold love himself and gave himself for me. I behold my worth in him and gave himself for me. This is the ultimate grace we will not set aside. What we set aside is the sin, the unbelief, the hardening of heart that so easily ensnares us. And so we are now constantly coming into the end of that carnal sight of wanting to see God and experience God through goosebumps and your outer man that counts for nothing. But to know that you now live in a reality of divine sight.